He always just does it when
I think it's like
People, Deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning in each and every time. Officially, the transfer window has officially, so good, I said it twice, opened. And now we can actually start to, move forward where the transfer news is concerned. Now, again, as we know, 99.9% of the rumours linking Arsenal to players and several other clubs are BS. What's going on in the tabloids and what's going on in the real world of football are very different things. But it makes for great talking points, people. Again, big up yourselves. Appreciative of you lot tuned in. I love the community we've got going here. If you give me 30 seconds, you can see I've stopped looking at you guys, people. That's just so I can share my screen and we can get into what's concerning Arsenal Football Club at this moment in time. Now, apparently, the official summer transfer window is now open. And I want to say to you lot, who do you think will sign? If you haven't got any personnel, let me know the positions you identify now. Bearing in mind, the window has just officially opened. And as I always say, we have to urge caution. I do think Arsenal and every club are, dotting I's, crossing T's, talking to clients or potential clients being footballers to sign for the club. That's not me saying that we're going to do a madness or anything. That's just what I believe is happening in the industry. In fact, I genuinely believe, I have no evidence for this, but about 70 to 80, in fact, probably 90% of transfer deals, official deals, people holding shirts, I think, talk started last summer with every club, or, in the winter months, that's when you're whining and dining clients and getting things done. Again, we didn't get Sesko, but what did you see in the run up to the end of last year and the beginning of this year towards the end of last season? His agent was pictured at a bunch of grounds and at stadiums and things of that ilk, people. So, for me, I would love a striker in it. Like, if rumours meant you was going to get footballers, out of all the strikers we've been linked with, for me, Isaac/Sesko would have been amazing. Fofana in central midfield or Zubimendi would have been a step in the right direction. The young Destiny Doué as well, if Rennes getting that done. Joel Hatto, I guess we have to wait another year as he's made clear that he wants to stay at Ajax. Let me know you lot stream transfers and whatnot. Apparently, 90 Minutes has said Arsenal's new 4-player shortlist of forward targets revealed. I mean, how much money? Well, we can see in Nico Williams there, and 1 minute he's linked with Barcelona, then staying at Bilbao, then signing for Arsenal. People say the wage structure is his potential wages could be an issue, in which it could be. Apparently, he's on 200 grand a week. At Arsenal, you probably want 250, maybe 300 if I was him, or if his agent's doing the right thing. Now, I'm sure he's got the potential, and if Arteta wants that, that's the going rate. We did give healthy wages to Kai Havertz, and I do believe, we're nowhere near Manchester City by any stretch of the imagination, but logically, Manchester City are treble winners, 4P, won the Champions League. Pep Guardiola and them players have been there, done it, and wore the t-shirt several times where achieving sporting excellence is concerned. But naturally, just like in any walk of life, or typically, because it's not always the case, if you want the best individuals, if you want the best content creators, the ones that bring the most views and the best editors and the best cameramen and the best whatever, you have to pay the going rate. Now, football mirrors society and society mirrors football. So if you flip that into football now, you do have to get into a scenario where you pay people competitive or handsome wages. Again, if you want to be a title challenging team, I don't know how much Haaland, Foden, Kevin De Bruyne, all of these guys get paid, but you could argue that's the nature of the business. And you look at, I know they've signed new deals recently or just signed for the club, but if they continue their progress, Bukayo Saka within the next year or so is probably going to get a boost to his wages. You'd imagine Martin Odegaard the same, maybe even Declan Rice and Kai Havertz, maybe not, and several others, people. Inaki Williams would be lit. He's young, he's Spanish like Arteta, so there's that kind of ilk. He's young and impressionable, obviously helps us where wide areas are concerned. The best of both worlds for me would be two new attackers, a versatile winger and a striker. I think as much as I would like that, I think you could concede, bring either one. If you get me another winger that can put pressure on Saka or Martinelli or Trossard, or deputize and bring in, at least double figures with goals on top of what the players are doing at the moment, and those that are not in form can get back to form, then we're laughing. So I don't think we're going to see any new names here, but for what it's worth, Arsenal have 4 different forwards on their radar heading into the summer transfer window after missing out on the signing of Benjamin Sesko, report has been claimed. I would say, though, for the world of football and the tabloids, once again, and with Arsenal, because Mikel Arteta, I don't think you can control leaks in it. Arsenal's too big of an organization, but it seems like we've kind of, eliminated the rat or the mole or the person that was leaking our transfer business. Obviously, some people get wind of stuff, but Arsenal seem to operate, you know, in the shadows. So nobody knows really what we're doing. Essentially, that's guesswork. And I disagree with it saying necessarily 4 strikers, because I think for the last year or so, it's been evident Arsenal need a forward. I think there's a whole bunch of range of forwards, some household names, some development players, you know, all different ilk. And then maybe we've whittled down the list, people. We've been linked with Benjamin Sesko. That's not happening. No need to waste time on that. We have been linked with Gyokeres, Evan Ferguson, forgive me for mispronunciation, and Josh Ruzerski. Now, where the Brighton lad's concerned, I guess he fits the remit of a young striker that could be rotated in, because let's be honest, at Brighton, he does quite well, and he's got the raw capabilities to be a really top-class forward, and he's a good striker as well. But there was a point where he wasn't really playing 90 minutes, and he was subbed quite frequently. So I do think, you know, there is a consistency with, you know, being linked with what Ferguson is in theory, what Zertsky could be for us in theory, and what Sesko in that. In the short and medium term, they can obviously, if they do well, then they're first teamers, but they can be rotated in and out. And obviously there's capacity to grow. Strikers are weird because, as you know, they tend to peak late. I like Josh Ruzerski. I don't think we're in for him, but I like him. I like his playmaking. I like his pressing metrics. I like all the other facets that Mikel Arteta demands of a striker. He only got 11 or 12 goals last season, so that's not eye-catching. But again, he's 23. There's scope for improvement, and respectfully to Bologna, because they did qualify for the Champions League, if he was to sign for Arsenal, naturally there might be an uptake in that kind of thing. For Sesko, I'm not too sure where a gentleman's agreement in business takes you, but fair enough. Apparently, you know, Gyokeres, who will get on to him in a bit more focus in a second, Ferguson and Zertsky are all on the list. The Evening Standard also report that Zertsky is an intriguing possibility for Arsenal, as like Sesko, he provides a powerful physical profile, and at 23 years of age, he still has room to grow. They add Feyenoord Santiago Jimenez, has also been scouted for similar reasons. Now, we've been linked with the, you know, the Feyenoord goalkeeper and a lot of Dutch players. So it's focusing on the Feyenoord goalkeeper, who Liverpool have been linked with as well. Obviously, if we've been scouting him and watching him, his teammate is Jimenez. We had to have ran the rule. I think we've made a decision on these players already. I think some of the names we've been linked with, they might not be a tactical fit. Arteta may or may not necessarily rate them. And there might be a factor where we rate them. But like with Sesko, he's not keen on the move. You know, like with Zertsky, you're hearing, you know, Kai Jarutkin wants a lot in terms of commission. So sometimes there's external factors or other factors at play as to why we can't move for players. It's a bit different, but you saw the news a few weeks ago that Arsenal were willing to go for Mohamed Kudus when he was at Ajax, but we was treading closely to PSR rules and whatnot, so we couldn't. And that kind of correlates with how the whole David Raya deal is being, you know, what would be the word? I'm lost for words now. Is being formulated in that we're running them 27 million, you know, this summer. So yeah, that doesn't really surprise me. And again, I do want a striker, and I guess I should make a video on this. I do want Arsenal to sign a striker, but we got 91 Premier League goals. We got 100 on all comps. Do we need a striker as much as we think? I believe yes, and I also believe no. I think it's the icing on top of the cake. I think Arsenal, we're at that stage now where obviously we need more depth, but we're at that stage where just a couple inches could make the world of difference. That's what she said. Sorry, people, I'm being an idiot. But continuing on with this, people, we're always linked with Nico Williams. I mean, it's a bit boring. We've been linked with Elise, but I must admit, with the greatest of respect to 90 Minute or the Mirror, you know, it doesn't seem like the more creditable journalists or ITKs or informed people have really put any legs or wheels in motion where Elise is concerned. I think there's an admiration for him. He's probably going to end up at Chelsea, if I'm completely honest with you, owing to reports. Apparently Bayern Munich and Newcastle also fighting for him. Wouldn't mind Jimenez if that's what Mikel Arteta demands. And we all know the Aaron Ramsdales, the Reece Nelsons, the Nketiahs, and plenty of other footballers' futures at Arsenal have already and will be subject to speculation. Ivan Toney rumours have resurfaced. Now, he wouldn't be my first choice, but I'm not necessarily against him. And respectfully to Ivan Toney, because he's completing at the Euros, he's got a contract running down. I think he's one of those that, you know, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United, teams that, well, you could say Spurs, lol, but teams that are consistently linked with a striker. I think personally they've went over or going after the Seskos, the Zertskis, the Gyokereses, the Ossimans, these kind of guys. And then if these don't work, then I think they're going for Ivan Toney, because they know he's quote unquote available. He's got a year left on his deal. His manager, the sporting director of Brentford, and the man himself, you know, any talk around his future, it's probably that, you know, it lays away from Brentford, apologies. But HITC understands that Brentford have not dropped their price tag for Ivan Toney amid transfer interest from the likes of Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, Tottenham Hotspur, and West Ham United. Now, that could be a bit of games being played, you know, for as much as we've done these transfer news shows and the window's just open, people are keeping their cards close to their chest. It's a bit of poker. And obviously in the realm of negotiations, whether you're dealing with multi-million-pound deals like the world of football, or if you're buying, you know, I don't know, in school, you might be trying to buy something off someone on the playground. If you make it clear that if you make your position very clear, then naturally your negotiation hand is somewhat weakened, people. Ivan Toney has a 60 million price tag on his head. I'm not too sure the club would, or any club would, look to go for that. I mean, if you need a forward, and if it was just on Ivan Toney's quality, I think he fits the system and he's prime ages right now. But with a year left on his deal, with probably handsome wages and a 60 million price tag, I don't think Arsenal or anyone's going to be keen on that, really. And it would really stink of desperation. So yeah, Ivan Toney's still there. He's spoken on his future once again and said, I am a Brentford player. I have a year left. Obviously going into a major tournament, that's my main focus. But after this, I'll be going back to Brentford and I'll still be a Brentford player. It's nice to be linked with other clubs. I've had disappointment in the past and nothing is done until it's done. Maybe that's in line with Arsenal in January, allegedly. Like I said, I'm still a Brentford player. I still have to be focused on that, doing well for Brentford in the upcoming season. And that's the main thing. And then he said, if it comes, I'll be ready. Regardless, like I said, I have to remain focused and not let other things and noise get the best of me by focusing on what I need to be doing with my club. Now, I must admit, if I was a Brentford fan, that's probably the nicest way Ivan Toney in recent months has addressed his future, because, you know, it seems like he's not matured or grown up or learned a bit, but it seems like he's done such. Bearing in mind, he did change agents recently. Before, it was almost like he was telling everyone, listen, bring up Brentford. I want to get out of here. I want to play champs. I want to do this and that. Would you lot take Ivan Toney, people? In fact, where are you lot at? Would you rather wait a year for Sesko? Would you move for Gyokeres? How do you feel about Elise? Would you move for Toney? Where are you at, people? Again, all interactive show. Make sure you're commenting. He said he's ready for a big move. And for what it's worth, I would take him at Arsenal. And I think he'd be a good fit for Chelsea. But I think as much as I don't want to talk about them down the lane, I think Spurs could be a good move for them, not necessarily you. And I think where Manchester United is concerned, yeah, obviously if they were to get Højlund and Sesko, two young strikers, I think United need an experienced man to allow Højlund to really develop and things. And I think Ivan Toney would make sense. Ramsdale's been speaking about his future, people. He's more or less just said he's had a tough season and he's spoken about a lack of playing time for England and whatnot, people. He did say, people, asked how he felt after falling behind Raya as Arsenal's first choice goalkeeper. He said, it was tough, but I have my release now. I'm here now. I've got the greatest honor, the greatest badge on my chest. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If I play a minute or no minutes, it will be a pinnacle for me, the best day ever. For the time being, I'm probably one of the happiest 26, 27 men in England, and hopefully we can make not just us, but however many millions at home the happiest as well. Hopefully we bring it home, man. You know, whether you're Saliba, Kai Havertz, Bukayo Saka, would love to see an Arsenal man win something. Trossard, anyone else playing at the Euros? You know, big up Gabriel Jesus and big Gabriel Magalhaes as well, competing at the Copa America. It'd be lovely. You know, big up Declan Rice as well. It's a shame Benjamin White's not there. Obviously, it's not politically, but again, I'm going off topic. I'm going left. But that's why I don't think England are going to do anything serious in this Euros. I'd love to be wrong, but too many question marks at left back, at central, the central defensive pairing, and in midfield, and the whole balance of the squad. I think in typical years, Southgate hasn't necessarily got it right, and he hasn't got it right at the moment, in that you've got a lot of players that on one hand deserve it because it's due to form, but I also feel there's too many players based on reputation. I don't think there's that balance, really. There's a lot of players that can play in a couple of roles but not necessarily masters, and there's a lot of unanswered questions in relation to the starting 11 and the philosophy going into the Euros, which at the time of making this video, actually we're beginning our Euros watch-alongs. We kick off with Germany, Scotland, so make sure you join me for that, and big up yourselves, people. On to Sporting Lisbon's Gyokeres, who was the man of the moment for a second. You know, every so often Arsenal are linked with a bunch of players, and then, you know, like Sesko last week and last week or two, there's one player that becomes aggressively linked with us to the point where I'm surprised they're not been announced on Arsenal.com. Lol. Sporting Lisbon will remain firm on their evaluation of Arsenal target Viktor Gyokeres, with the intention of selling other first-team stars this summer. Now, you got to remember, you know, they've been linked with Diamande leaving, another one that I'd love at the carpet, Inacio, another centre-half as well. So they might not necessarily want to depart from Gyokeres, because if you've got a hand on an Isaac, a Gyokeres, you know, a Sesko, in a day and age of Zertsky, in a day and age where there isn't too many quality strikers, whether it's world class, top class, whatever in it, the striker market is quite rubbish, in my opinion, to us casual fans. So if you have one of these guys that in high demand, you kind of want to hold on to them as much as possible. Now, again, Gyokeres, with the season he's had, not just in terms of winning the league, but also with the goals he scored, I think he'll fit us to a T tactically. But with the goals he scored, you know, could you argue that if he doesn't do this next year, then Sporting might not get the money they want? Now, they might not care because they have a decent player. But yeah, allegedly, the Gunners have scouted Swedish striker Gyokeres several times in the past 12 months in their search for more firepower up top. As you know, the 26-year-old got 43 goals in 50 outings for Sporting in all comps and has a release clause of 85 million. Arsenal want to negotiate a fee in the region of 50 to 60 million, but the Portuguese giants, as things stand, are unwilling to let him leave on the cheap. He's previously said he'd cut if he could. Apparently, Sporting are prepared to raise funds through the sales of other players, including Osman Diomande and Inacio. Two players. I promise you, God as my witness. Wallahi, I didn't read this article, but it ties into what I was saying. Apparently, Diomande has admirers at the Emirates and is valued at around 50 odd million quid. He has a contract until 2027. Manchester United are also looking at him, people. Sesko, I mean, if we're going for him, we have to wait for that another year in it. So we're at where we're at with that, people. Apparently, Arsenal are calm after missing out on the Slovenian Benjamin Sesko, who obviously decided to renew his deal. We've set our sights allegedly on Gyokeres and Zertsky, so we'll have to see. And once again, we're still linked with, just seeing this here, this was actually on the 3rd of June, but we're still linked with Zubamendi, who seems to be half-hearted in leaving. And again, people, we've been linked with Jimenez as well as Elise. Now, we've actually been linked with Eze as well. Elise, good player. Where Arsenal's concerned, would love to be wrong. Forget about it. Jimenez, obviously, I do think the journalists are running out of strikers to link Arsenal with, because it really is just the same names, essentially, people. Nico Williams allegedly is of interest, but it seems like he's got his heart set on Barcelona just based on the way he plays. Based on the way he speaks, based on the way he's talked about playing with, you know, Lamine Yamal, the young Spanish winger who's one to watch during the Euros, and the rumours that come out in that Barca want to pair them together, even to the point where allegedly Nico Williams, Inaki's brother, is prepared to wait another year before getting such a move. Arteta has spoken of the need for Arsenal to create magic moments in attack. I need to see exactly what that is. That could be content. And Elise is one of the players on the market who could provide them with that. But apart from Elise being young, homegrown, English, and a great player that addresses an area we need, doesn't seem like there's any legs to our rumours with that. The Guardian's Ed Aarons on Osimhen has said the only issue could be the enormous 120 million euros release clause that clubs will have to stump up with Alahi, I can't say that, sorry, in Saudi Arabia, now thought to be in pole position despite long-term interest from the Premier League. Arsenal and Chelsea could still try to get on in the app, but may be forced to turn their attention to cheap alternatives. It's been priced out of a move, 120 million quid, without talking about his signing on fee, what his agent wants, and obviously his wages. Great player, and I guess on one hand, it's the going rate. Apparently, for this article, he remains firm in his belief that he'll get a move to Arsenal, Chelsea, or Manchester United, people. So we'll have to see exactly what's going on. The Saudi clubs are apparently willing to pay him 15 million a year, which, hey, I don't know if I would be trying to go Prem. Destiny Due, bro, get that done. Get that done today. People, trust me, I miss a lot of the time, but you see him, if we grab him, no talking, you'll see, or you'll see in 2 odd years. You know, I would love to bring him, Joel Hatto, and Sesko within the next 18 months, 2 years to the carpet, or their players we're going to think of what if. Apparently, he's thought to be on the radar of both Manchester United and saving the best till last, Arsenal ahead of this transfer window. The president of Rennes has said since he was young, he's been followed by the biggest European clubs. That won't change this summer, and we'll see depending on the offers. So we'll have to see for the star boy. Chiesa's future will be decided after Euro 2024. He's someone that's been linked with Arsenal and several other clubs, people. We'll have to watch that. Once again, Chelsea have made contact in their attempt to sign Crystal Palace's Elise. He's understood to be open to a move to Chelsea, and he also has interest from Arsenal, Bayern Munich, Manchester City, Manchester United, and Newcastle. So it seems that Chelsea are the front runners in that, really and truly. So we'll have to see exactly what's going on in that regard. What have we got here? Once again, his release clause is 60 odd million. Now, if he's got a release clause of 60 odd million, and Eze does as well, obviously Crystal Palace could bring 120 million in, and pardon me, if the release clause is activated and the player's got a willingness to leave, Crystal Palace's hands are kind of tied, essentially, people. But surely they don't want to lose both of them in one window. I don't know, people. So we'll have to see. But in relation to Elise, Gyokeres, Sesko, Osimhen, Zubamendi, let me know your thoughts, people. In fact, I'm doing you lot extreme dirty people, because I've actually missed out a tab. Apparently, Thomas Partey is closing in on a summer move to Saudi Arabia as well, people, which we hear all the time, just like with the Zubamendi links. And again, it's very easy to write about Arsenal, I believe. You just link us to strikers, link us to central midfielders, talk about, you know, Toney, Tavares, Lokonga, Smith Rowe, Reece Nelson, Eddie Nketiah, Aaron Ramsdale, and etc., etc. And you just keep changing the paragraphs and recycling the same articles, and we're there. So yeah, I almost missed it out. Great save, great last-ditch tackle coming like Saliba or Declan Rice. But as I said, let me know your thoughts on what you think Arsenal will or won't do in the summer. What do you think is the most important area? Would you go for Ivan Toney? Would you wait a year for Sesko? Would you go for Joshua Zirkzee? Where you at with, you know, Inferieze and Nico Williams and anything else we've discussed, people? So yeah, man, smash the like button, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget, with the Euro starting at the time of making this video, it is 11:55 a.m. on a Friday. We will be doing a watch along together. So yeah, you lot stay blessed, stay safe. Peace.